This is a movie I want to go fully on the record and say I do not understand why it does not have more attention.
Me neither.
Whatever you think Ghost Shark 2 Urban Jaws is going to be, it is not.
What do you mean, New Zealand?
It's full of surprises.
Now, after seeing this movie all the way through, if you really had to wager a gambit, how much do you think this movie was made for?
I'm going to say $1,000. Does it say the budge on IMDb?
It does say the budge.
It normally does.
The budge on IMDb is, in terms of New Zealand dollars, 4,000.
All right.
Which in
I was so
United
close.
States dollars comes out to $2,285.20. And this is a short movie too, about an hour and 9 minutes. Is
worth every penny.
It really is. The gas pedal is stuck to the floor, and you are going on the ride whether you like it or not. No safety recalls for this movie, but there probably should be. I would be down for like...
Not that you could improve on the masterpiece already, but it would add a different element to it.
If they did like a 4K 60 FPS remaster, I could see myself being down for that. It's kind of trapped in 24 FPS because it came out in like 2014. This movie opens in the way that some of the best movies do. I mean, I'm assuming you've seen Star Wars. So this movie starts with on-screen text graphics telling us what the ghost shark is, and plays with your expectations right off the bat, because it pulls up the definition of a ghost shark and it tells you it's like this angry, vengeful spirit, and it says under the second part of the definition, can swim through water, period. But that period turns into a comma in order to keep it going. You thought it was done, but it's not. Turns out it can also swim through ice and even steam. So I thought, oh, of course it can swim through water. But then it turned into a comma, and I was like, oh,
Talk about suspense.
My expectations are being fiddled with right off the bat. So we open in like this parking garage area where a woman is going and a man is stalking her and attacks her, and she has a wine bottle that she drops during the attack. As the attacker continues going after her, we see the shark's fin kind of swimming through the alcohol that spilled out of the bottle on the ground. And then the guy just starts convulsing and he spits up water and he just like drops to the ground dead. She has no idea what's going on. And then it happens to her too. This shark has no sense of discrimination whatsoever. It goes after both the attacker and the victim. We cut to an exterior where we meet this guy who's sitting out on a dock. This is Tony. Tony
is the best character.
He's one of the best characters in this movie for sure. The first line out of his mouth, you know exactly who he is. The actor did such a good job with this character, just blammo. You know who Tony is right away.
A guy at Working Income might be able to help.
Working Income? Go to hell, Mayor Broody.
I mean, you need good actors to sell your script. Sometimes you don't know a script is good until your actors are reading it off. And as soon as Jack started, I was like, holy dude.
You know what you're in for the second he speaks.
Some kind of see him as like the no good scoundrel of the town. He's drunk a lot. He's sitting by the water, which I found really interesting because Tony starts talking about his past experience with a ghost shark that killed a lot of people he knew. In this scene, even though it can appear in water, in ice, or steam, and Tony is well aware of all of this, he still resigns himself to sit by the water, even though he's terrified of the ghost shark. So it set up like this really funky conflict in the character where he's terrified of his past experiences, but he feels so awful about what he had to do to kill the last ghost shark, which we'll get to, that he's also kind of like resigned to his fate. With him, we also see Mayor Broody.
No relation to Sheriff Brody from Jaws. No relation.
Jack Broody is his name. He meets Tony out there. The mayor is also aware of the ghost shark and had a little bit of experience with the past one alongside Tony. Toward the end of the scene, the mayor starts like dropping food into the water. Tony grabs the mayor's hands and says,
"Don't feed the fish."
And I was trying to think. I was racking my brain, dude. Like, why resign yourself to the fate but like kind of decline putting food in the water. Why do you think he didn't want the mayor to do that? Why do you think he stopped him from just feeding the fish?
No clue.
If I had to guess, I would guess if Tony's going to go, if Ghost Shark's going to get him, he wants it to just be like natural. No bait, no tricks, no toys, no big showdown. Just me at the water thinking about what I've done. Ghost Shark. So after that, we cut to a park. It feels like a hard cut, but this scene tells us more about Ghost Shark, because Ghost Shark is honestly kind of a character. He's got a bit of a
Is this the scene with the mimes?
Yeah, this is the mimes in the park. It hard cuts.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. I've
hard
always
cuts-
said that shark movies need more mimes. Like, it's kind of obvious, you know?
You would think so.
Like, I think the Jaws sequels would have been...
They would have
like,
been better
as
if
praised
nobody
today.
talked, really. If everybody
Exactly,
in those
yeah.
movies was a mime, it would have been man versus nature in its purest form. So these two mimes are performing in a park for an audience of one. And we cut to this guy who just loves their act, loves their routine. And then something happens to him that I've never related to a character like this before. He's applauding these two
I was just
mimes,
gonna say that.
and then he looks over and sees a woman eyeing him while she licks a popsicle, and I was like, that's real. Like that's real.
Yeah.
That's
Women
a
are always
real-
licking popsicles and looking at me, and now I know why. It's because of the
and at
clapping.
the park, dude. At the park.
Yeah.
Like all the
At the park.
time. I'm like, I mean, I came here just to see some mimes at the park, but this is fine
Like
too.
we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes over to her and he's super shy, and she's licking this popsicle, and
She feeds him the popsicle, right?
Yeah, she feeds it to him. She puts it in
Yeah.
his mouth, and he starts licking it. And the filmmakers did something here that I thought was super smart, because it conveyed to me that there was some foreboding on the horizon. The color temperature changed from warm to cold. It got bluer. And right when that happened, the guy started choking on the pop. And I was like, oh, it's ice. It can swim through ice, dude. So
I forgot. Because they told us that like so earlier in the movie, like way long ago, like 2 minutes ago, maybe.
by now, all I really
Yeah.
thought about is Tony. And I'm like, what has he been through? So it chokes him out, and his eyes turn red, and he spits up water. So the shark attacks in these movies are not normal. Like, people are not like bitten in half or just like chewed up like Captain Quint. They are drowned from the inside. Being in a non-tangible form, it goes inside of people, and Ghost Shark affects you from the inside.
It sure affected me from the inside.
Oh, this movie affected me from every side. So after he dies, the woman looks up and she sees that Ghost Shark has power in the real world, takes control of the popsicle, and it's floating in front of her. And the popsicle flies at her and she screams, and we hard cut to the next scene. So that's 3 victims. And this is not a lot of time. The movie's only a few minutes in, and we have 3
Wait,
dead
was the
bodies
popsicle
already.
girl, popsicle chick, was she a victim?
Yeah. They imply that Ghost Shark got her with the popsicle. They did it, basically, they did a couple like quick cuts. It's kind of like blink and you miss it. You really got to keep your eyes on the screen for this movie. This is not a movie that you can... Don't check Tinder during this movie. You're going to miss important details. You're going to miss a ton of if you're just on your phone during
yeah.
this movie. Like, this is not a phone
Yeah.
movie. Pay attention.
No.
We find out that Jack Broody, the mayor, lived in a town called Port Isabel, and he knew Tony when the first Ghost Shark attacked. Now, this is part of the tricky mythos of this movie. There is a Ghost Shark 1, and it was just this goofy sci-fi movie with Richard Mole on the Sci-Fi Channel, but it's not related to this movie.
The cave brings things back, it don't take them away.
Cave?
Yes! The cave! Damn it, the cave!
Ghost Shark 2 is its own thing. It has its own mythos. And it's called Ghost Shark 2 because there's been a Ghost Shark in the past. So in Port Isabel, Jack and Tony knew each other when Ghost Shark 1 attacked. And they don't get into it too much because, honestly, this movie just moves too fast. We don't have time to dive into every nook and cranny here. The movie throws what you need to know at you, nothing more, nothing less. The mayor, Jack, says that Tony had access to a submarine. No questions, all I needed to know. The only choice they had was for the two of them to sequester in that submarine and launch a tactical nuclear strike on all of Port Isabel to kill the Ghost Shark and everybody in the town. I'm assuming that's before he was Mayor Broody and he was just Jack Broody. So he must have had a lot of influence as the mayor to be one of the sole survivors of the Port Isabel attack. So this is a man with a lot of authority under his belt for sure.
Well, yeah, his name's Mayor. First name Mayor.
Mayor Broody gets on the phone with his, fix-it guy, a guy named Ira. We never see him. We just hear him on the phone. He's got a super thick accent.
We need expert assistance and fast.
Expert assistance? What am I supposed to do?
Even though Ira doesn't know what a ghost shark is, Mayor Broody tells him to handle finding someone to go after Ghost Shark 2, the one that we've seen in this movie so far.
I don't care what you have to do. Find someone who's qualified. I don't care how many dirty favors it takes.
And the mayor tells him what happened in Port Isabel with Ghost Shark 1. We meet Tommy. Tommy he's the hero of the movie, but he's pretty rough around the edges.
Just the way he walks, the way he carries himself, is a very tough guy.
Is your wife?
He's super willing to do whatever it takes to take out this ghost shark. If it costs human lives, he will do it. So he's closer to anti-hero than hero. But he still mourns the lives that he lost personally from the ghost shark. So it's really interesting to see the actor balance the suffering of his loss with being willing to murder thousands of people to kill one ghost shark. Then we cut to see our next unfortunate victim. Even in a subtle jab, kind of tells us the order in which the deaths in this movie are going to take place. Because the first victim was through the water and the alcohol. The second victim was through the ice and the popsicle. And the third element was steam. So we see a guy ironing his clothes. Just like with the popsicle, the shark has the ability to move the iron. It can move things that have water in them, and it launches the steam out, and through the steam the ghost shark enters the guy and it kills him too. We've never met this guy and we never see him again, but it was another really good scene and just telling us more about how Ghost Shark operates. So we also cut to find out that we're in the middle of a mayoral campaign. Mayor Broody is running against his friend Marco Guerra, and they have a debate. I thought this was a smart touch. You can disagree if you want. Either way, they have a debate in what looks like an elevator. And at first I thought, well, they're the mayor. He should be able to reserve a room, a big room, where the media can set up their cameras in the front, like any other debate, because this is a big city that they're running. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, when you're running for office, you want to relate to the common man. You want to be where they are.
That's a really good point.
Where is somewhere that every common man goes to get to a lot of workplaces? It's the elevator. So they put themselves in the shoes of the kinds of people that they're going to be running for office to govern over. And I was like, yeah, okay. The elevator actually makes sense. Mayor Broody and Marco Guerra, the other candidate, are actually good friends in real life. So they're adversarial on the campaign stage, but they've known each other for a long time. Mayor Broody asks Guerra, hey, how's the kid doing? She taking care of herself? Tell her I said hi. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll let her know you said hi. They've known each other for a while.
He's really obsessed with his daughter.
He asks about her a couple times. One of the questions that Marco asks the mayor, because they think there's a serial killer on the loose who's drowning people, and they don't know that it's Ghost Shark yet. So that's why Tony's paranoid, and the mayor's trying to keep him calm.
Well, the forthcoming International Water Convention promises to bring a boatload of tourist trade.
Talk about a free buffet, dude. Next, we cut to two characters that we haven't seen before. It's a man and woman out on a date night. I'm assuming it's a first date because she's kind of like, hey, what are you doing after that? I don't even really remember her using his name. Have you ever been on a first date where you don't get each other's names before?
No.
It sounds kind of fun, honestly. I'd give it a shot. And it cuts to them in the shower together for the first love scene we have in this movie. It's funny because with violence in movies, we're not as fast to question if it's gratuitous, because usually the violence is introduced as some kind of conflict. Sexuality is viewed as unnecessary in movies because it doesn't necessarily further the plot. How does any sexuality or nudity push this movie forward? Well, we're about to find out, because this movie subverts our expectations. And honestly, dude, this movie was so good. I think getting naked for Ghost Shark 2 is honestly a privilege.
I think any actor would be lucky to have that on their resume.
Very aggressive kissing, but I personally found it pretty authentic. And they're in the shower. So we're like, oh, like Ghost Shark's about to get like a buy one, get one. This movie plays with your expectations. Like I said, whatever you thought Ghost Shark 2 Urban Jaws was, that is not what it's going to be. This is apparently like an apartment. It's not a house. Seems like it's an apartment. And there's a guy in his bed on the other side of the wall who hears them in the shower. Kind of gets his passion fire stoked a little bit. And so this guy decides it's a great time to start jorking it. He puts some lubricant in his hand. Yeah, he's into it. He's like, at the beginning of the scene, he's like, I'm really not in the mood, but the actor did a really good job, just like on a dime, making me believe he is in the mood to jerk off. And we hear like a crunch, like the first bite of a Pringle, and the ghost shark pulls him under the covers and throws him around, and he's gone. And the camera does this super smooth glide over to his bottle of lube, and there's a graphic on it that says, now water-based. Now, another thing I realized is sharks can move through water, steam, ice, whatever. I mean, what are people made of?
Water, steam, and ice.
People are 60% water. So Ghost Shark really shouldn't have any problem getting anybody at all. If you could kill anybody, why go through all of these elaborate ruses, this, that, and the other? It tells me something about the shark. It is choosing to let people make their own mistakes. It's choosing to let people fumble in the dark until they deserve to die by Ghost Shark. In a weird way, Ghost Shark is kind of honorable.
I think he has a ton of honor, yeah.
Tommy lives very frugally. He sleeps on a mattress on the floor. He sleeps in his jeans and his white V-neck, and he wears them at all times when he walks around. And when they're telling us about him, they tell us this guy hasn't bathed in 9 years because he knows that it would be too easy for Ghost Shark to find him if he does. We get Tommy meeting the mayor. He busts into the mayor's office and beats him there, scares the hell out of the mayor. Oh! Master stroke of this script. It tells us everything we need to know about Tommy. He is right to business. One of his first lines to the mayor when the mayor introduces himself is,
"Let's not piss around the pool, Mayor."
That's just a taste of some of the great lines in this film.
Yeah, that line was probably like a top 10 line. I'd have to do like a full line-by-line breakdown, but I think I could say pretty confidently that one was a top 10er. This is also when we find out just how serious the ghost shark problem is.
How exactly does one become an expert ghost shark hunter? I mean, really, how many could there be?
Want me to count them for you?
Well, yeah.
1.
I mean,
2.
No, I mean...
3.
What?
4. 5. 6.
6,000!
That's only the ones on record.
So this is like an epidemic, and that there are so many of them, and the world doesn't. It took one ghost shark for them to resort to a nuclear strike on all of Port Isabel, and there's 6,000 of them out there. So this is a global threat that nobody knows about. Before Tommy decides whether or not he's going to take on this job, he decides to kind of get acquainted with the city a bit, but it actually turns out he's been here before, and he sees some things in the city he doesn't approve of. He sees someone using a water fountain without even thinking about it. An idiot.
Without even thinking about the ghost sharks.
6,000 of them. And that's just the ones on record.
He sees people swapping spit without even consideration of ghost
kiss.
sharks.
And again, 2 people, that's 120% water. That is ringing the dinner bell for Ghost Shark. And there's 6,000 of them, and that's just the ones on record. Tommy's wife died to a ghost shark, and his family doesn't believe him. And he goes and visits.
Tony's wife also died to a ghost shark.
Yeah, Tommy and Tony's wife both died from ghost shark.
That dead wife trope is not used enough in films, I don't think. And this one has 2 of them.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie where 2 of our heroes had dead wives.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Tommy ran away from New Zealand, but he goes and he visits his in-laws who think that he killed their daughter. And the dad, he is not well. Some sort of issue with his brain. He doesn't remember things, so he doesn't even remember Tommy's name.
Doesn't he have a gambling problem? Wasn't that in the clip? No, Tommy's father-in-law. He says something about gambling. Am I crazy?
He says,
You, I know you. You are the boy who's going to marry our Emily.
Okay, never mind.
again, man, you've got to put the phone down and pay attention during this movie. Next up, we get our next victim. He's talking to his son, telling him that dinner's going to be ready soon. He's cooking pasta.
Dad, when's lunch going to be ready?
Shouldn't be too long.
And the shark uses the steam from the pasta sauce to kill this guy. And it kills him right in front of his son, who is apparently stunned into silence off screen. I thought that was kind of a smart touch, personally. I think it was interesting for the movie to tell us, hey, these victims have families, even if they only say one line and they're not in the rest of the movie or even the rest of the scene and they're never on screen. These people have loved ones. There was one editorial choice I really want to get your take on. When he falls onto the floor after the shark attacks him and slips, there's kind of like this cartoony banana peel sound. Why do you think they did that? Like, that had to be an intentional choice.
Yeah, I think they were trying to appeal to the children that are watching this film. Because when people go to see like an intelligent, big blockbuster like this, they want to bring their kids because some people don't have the option, to leave them at home. So they bring their kids. They're like, hey, little popsicle scene, little banana peel, just little things to like keep the kids happy. I think.
Child care.
That's my take on it.
Really expensive. Tommy bursts into a meeting with the mayors, Brody and Marco, basically tells him, if we're going to fight this thing, we need to do it now. Marco is so confused about what's going on, and Tommy storms out, and Marco follows him because he's like, who the hell was this guy? Who did he think he was, busting in on our meeting like that? And he sees Tommy conjure a ghost shark in a parking garage, and he runs back to Mayor Brody, and he's like, you need to tell me what's going on right now. Slaps Marco in the face.
I don't notice it in other films because I think they're close enough, but in this movie they need to be like closer. I think right. What I mean? That's if I could just throw out a little bit of criticism.
Well, film acting is super subtle, so the camera's got to be close to the actors. And the movie makes the wise choice of framing multiple actors in close proximity so you can pick up on like the micro emotions of multiple actors at a time. And I think it's a good call.
That's a good way of putting it.
Tommy's really not happy about being followed.
Logan, no!
If you follow me again, I'll tie a fish around your balls and feed your dick to a sea lion.
And in a fit of rage, a bit of information comes out, and he tells Marco that the nuke that they detonated in Port Isabel,
we had to make a call,
did not kill the ghost shark.
Didn't kill ghost shark.
What? All those people.
It was an electromagnetic pulse. Side effect of the blast. Sent your ghost shark right back to Hades.
Like, all those people died. It didn't kill the ghost shark, but the fallout from the nuke generated an EMP, and that temporarily sent the shark back to hell. Tommy lets a couple of really angry lines out at the mayor, and we see a bit of his dark side, and there might be a couple of lines you want to block your kids' ears for. Like I said, childcare is expensive, and sometimes you got to get out, you got to have a social life, you want to see a movie. This scene should be fine for them. So Tommy wants to talk to Emily, but he can't. So he hires a sex worker to pretend to be his dead wife.
A scene that I've never seen in any other movie before.
So, and again, like I said, it is a privilege to get naked for Ghost Shark 2 Urban Jaws.
Absolutely. I wish I could have gotten naked for Ghost Shark 2 Urban Jaws.
Dude, I would helicopter my for this movie so fast, it would make your head spin. It would make my spin.
Exactly.
And I would fly off the ground like a helicopter.
Again, that's something you want on your resume.
She thinks this is just like a normal night of work for her. But he starts talking to her, and she's like, different strokes, different folks. She's like, he's like, can I call you Emily? She's, normal night of work for her. Call me whatever you want. He kind of freaks her out. So he scares her so bad that she runs out the door without putting any of her clothes on. The actor, actually, to prepare for this scene, listened to Tom Petty for 6 hours consecutively in a fit of rage for what he just did, for not being able to get over his grief and for scaring this woman. He punches himself in the face repeatedly. Ghost Shark goes mainstream because the mayor feels like he's got to keep the citizens in New Zealand safe. He lets it out to the news that there's a ghost shark on the loose. And there's a paranormal expert who's actually aware of Ghost Shark, and they interview him on the TV. And he gives us what could be Ghost Shark's motive, is because of people cutting off shark fins for soup.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That makes sense,
Yeah.
That makes sense for Urban Jaws to go after everyone.
So we cut to Tony in the bar.
Turn that shit off!
And he's watching the news program. The guy next to him, it turns out, works for the program that he's watching on TV at the time. Just thinks this is just a crock of shit. He's like, Ghost Shark, you really believe all this? And the guy tries to leave, and Jack follows him out the door. He's like, what, you don't believe in Ghost Shark? Ghost Shark broke Tony as a person, completely changed his life, and this man is telling him to his face it didn't happen. That would break anybody, dude. Jack does what any broken or lost soul does. He breaks his beer bottle over the guy's head and stabs him to death with it. And he does not stop until this guy is absolutely dead, Zoe. And it freaks him out. He's like, oh, God, what have I done?
Goddamn Ghost Shark!
And he runs away. And just after he's committed murder, no sooner, no later, he comes up on this fountain. For all of the wishing that he has done, that Ghost Shark would just find him where he was at and just kind of end it all, Ghost Shark, again, subverts our expectations and just finds him at this random water fountain. In kind of a cruel twist, Ghost Shark waited until this man was broken enough to take a life, to finally come after him. It offers him, I really like this part, Ghost Shark shows him a vision of his pregnant wife who died, and it gives him like this respite, this momentary peace before it kills him and takes him away from all of this.
Thank you.
I love this character. Probably the best character in the movie. I hated losing him, but I understand why he had to go. They set up a crime scene because everybody knows who Ghost Shark is. When the mayor goes to the crime scene and finds his friend's body, the cops aren't even there. They just set up the tape and leave because everybody knows who Ghost Shark, like what Ghost Shark is. They're all terrified. The movie If this were any other movie, I would think, oh, they did not have the budget to hire the extras to play a whole cast of cops to act like a crime scene crew or this or that. But this movie had a budget of 2,200 United States dollars. They could have bought the extras they needed to film this scene.
Goddamn Ghost Shark!
They said no. The story comes first, and into the story, everybody knows about Ghost Shark. Nobody's going to go to a crime scene next to a water fountain right now. Not happening. Mayor Broody finding his friend's body is just like his tipping point. He knows that Ghost Shark needs to die now. Tommy has created a homemade EMP that is capable of wiping out electricity through the entire city. But the mayor, Jack, says the generators are not online yet. If it knocks out the power, people are gonna die. And like I said before, it's a really good hint at the hypocrisy that lives inside of Tommy. He's willing to let thousands die, but he's hung up on his wife who died.
An EMP would cut power to half the city.
Not half the city, Mayor. All of it.
No, Logan, think of all the elderly and sick on life support. Without power, people will die.
Not EMP, everyone will die! No! I won't sanction it! Not even if there's a goddamn Ghost Shark on the loose! Not this time!
I know it's his wife, but if we disconnect and kind of play a cold, calculated numbers game, she's one and next to thousands. So he's hung up on one still, but he's willing to let thousands die. I really appreciated it because I view that as like a trace of the hypocrisy that, honestly, it lives inside all of us. So they go down to the water where Tony usually was, and they're like, we have got to set off this EMP. We have to do it. And somehow, like, the hands of fate are just all over this script. Martina is Marco's daughter, the one that the mayor was like, hey, say hi to your kid for me. She's with him now. She's on screen. She has an on-screen presence. And they see the mayor by the water, and they're like, what the hell's he doing there? And they get out right when they're about to, like, conjure Ghost Shark to use the EMP on it. Like, it's the worst possible time for this. And as soon as they get there, Ghost Shark jumps out of the water, and we see Ghost Shark here and there, but I really feel like, I don't know, there's something about this shot that I'm like, this is Ghost Shark in all of its glory. She gets out of the car and she looks like she is excited. She's like, is that the Ghost Shark? And the Ghost Shark runs, like, well, not runs, it like flies toward her. Ghost Shark hits Marco and he dies right in front of his daughter. As it's trying to get back to the water, Tommy detonates the EMP. They both just disappear. So the mayor takes Martina's hand and runs.
Come on! The people are gonna be angry. We can hide in my office. Stop crying, little girl. Ghost Shark can swim through tears.
And we get this glimpse into what everyday life is going to be like for the people in the fallout of this EMP as we cut to a hospital where there's a woman reading a story to her mother who is bedridden. I've never seen this actress before. I mean, I haven't seen most of these actors before. This one, so her mom dies right in front of her from the EMP. The immediate sense of loss and devastation that this actress feels, dude, I was like, holy shit.
No, 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 no!
I was sold on her devastation. Really, really good. And it made me think, like, this is going to be a lot of people. So it contextualizes the sacrifices being made to kill Ghost Shark 2.
Urban Jaws.
Now we also see into like the unforeseen consequences of Mayor Broody making everybody panic by publicizing the ghost shark. I didn't even think about I thought of people like Ghost Shark, like some people might not believe him. Some people might be terrified of the idea that taking a shower could get them killed now. But there's also people who are angry. And so a group of 3 terrorists make a video telling him that they're going to go to his office and kill him. But because this movie really wants to make sure it really wants to make sure it sells its audience on really unique and believable characters. So these terrorists actually give him the common courtesy of a heads up.
As any terrorist would. Mayor Broody is in his office just chilling with his
Martina,
political rival's daughter and his recently deceased political rival's daughter.
They bunker down in the office. We are transported with Tommy into what I guess we're supposed to assume is the realm where ghost sharks reside.
Yeah, or Davy Jones' locker kind of
Yeah,
place.
kind of like that. It's like this ethereal plane. The footage is desaturated, so it kind of has this feel that it's in between worlds in a way. So, of course, Emily, Tommy's dead wife, is the symbol of all of his grief. So she appears to him in this realm, but he puts it together pretty quickly that this is the ghost shark and how the ghost shark is choosing to appear before him. She even has kind of a nickname for him. And I'm assuming this is something all ghost sharks think of all of humanity. She calls him Slow Swimmer. In this ethereal realm, when he figures out this is who she is, she holds him underwater and says,
For millions of years we have hunted our oceans, but you cut off our fins and throw us back in the water. If we can't swim, we die.
And again, they teleport to another part of this ethereal plane where Tommy and Emily are talking to each other. Tommy says, I just want a bit more time with Emily. You can have me, you can kill me. I just want a little bit more time with my wife. And the shark just on a dime says, whatever you need. She goes from being Ghost Shark to being Emily. It's kind of eerie. Harvey Dent, Two-Face, Jekyll and Hyde. Ghost Shark Emily is up there with those. On the other side, the terrorists have gotten into Mayor Broody's office and they're threatening to kill him right in front of Martina. So things are getting hella dire. Everything's coming to a head at once.
A hammerhead.
And we hit the most visceral scene in the movie. He just holds her. He just wants to hold his wife one more time. And what Ghost Shark doesn't know is that it gave the game away. Ghost Shark said how to defeat itself while it was trying to drown Tommy. But Tommy's a Ghost Shark expert, so he can actually hear underwater very clearly and heard her say,
You're a shark. If you can't move, you die.
So he hugs her and doesn't let go.
No! No!
Dies. And in the struggle, as Ghost Shark is struggling to survive, she nicks his V-neck right here. And after Ghost Shark dies, because in the trauma of what looks like him murdering his own wife sets in, and he tears his shirt open, and his sheer force of will beams him back to our plane of reality right in the mayor's office, and the terrorists get the hell out of there. I do not have the upper body strength to rip a shirt like that. If this guy can do that, I honestly can't even imagine what he could do to me. So he jumps on the ground without a shirt on and says,
Hey, little girl, what's your name?
Yeah, when you approach children, when you get on their level like that, you should always be shirtless.
Now, this whole experience has really transformed Tommy. Doing this has killed off a part of himself. His sense of purpose is gone. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 36,000 ghost sharks. And those are just the ones on record. But this was his white whale.
His white shark.
And the movie ends how it began, with on-screen text to let us know that everything worked out. The water convention went without a hitch. None of the other 5,999 ghost sharks on record went to New Zealand to kill anybody at the International Water Convention. We find that Marco posthumously won the election with about 78% of the vote. The whole ghost shark fiasco, him going on the news and saying, you know, good luck, you're gonna need it, ghost sharks coming for us, all the fear that he instilled in everybody had to play a part in his political downfall. I guess what sucks is, like, Jack loses because he did the right thing. He adopts Martina and retires from politics. There's a scene where he pulls out Tony's dishonorable discharge, and in a pure act of defiance, he rips up Tony's dishonorable discharge and throws it away on the beach. I didn't know ripping up the document nullified a dishonorable discharge.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. That was a pretty interesting detail.
She grows up and becomes a successful local politician, and Tommy, he stays in New Zealand, and it says he never remarried. And he takes Tony's place on the dock. And we cut to credits, and that is Ghost Shark 2, Urban Jaws. 69 minutes. It's fast, dude. This movie blazes through. I got to a lot of things. I left some stuff out just to motivate people to check this one out. It sticks with you afterwards. Smoother than smooth. I really enjoyed this movie, and I decided after watching it that I'm not going to kill myself